You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's bright and early, and it's starting to be bright out there. I can actually see my shadow. Well, not shadow. I can actually see my hand in front of my face is what it is. But it's twilight, so to speak. But it is 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's time to get up if you're already getting ready for school or getting ready for go to work, or you're probably running late if you're just waking up now. But you need to get up and need to start thinking about, well, what about some of the stuff I need to do to my car? I mean, I put off this stuff this weekend. I didn't check my oil. I didn't check my air and my tires. I didn't check anything. The only thing I did was come home Friday night, threw the keys on the counter, and well, I haven't done anything till today when I started the car up and come back to work. Well, you might want to start thinking about, how about the wiper blades? We do have a rainy season that's going to be coming up, and it should be coming up any day now. It usually comes up in the springtime. We'll get a rainy season where those showers just hit you all of a sudden, and you go, where'd that come from? And you need to make sure your wipers work, and make sure your taillights work, and your turn signals work. Turn signals are not optional equipment in Bay County. I know a lot of people think they are optional equipment in just Florida, but they are not. They're something you're supposed to use on a daily basis, and some people sometimes forget how they're used. But make sure they work. If you have a a turn signal that blinks faster than, say, your right turn signal blink, 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 and your left one doesn't blink quite as fast, that tells me that one of the bulbs is burned out on the front or the rear, or maybe both of them are burned out and you don't know it. So if your blinkers are blinking on your dash, one faster than the other, that's a pretty good indication you've got at least one light bulb out on the front of the rear. So please check your light bulbs and make sure that when you do change light bulbs, it's best to change them in pairs. If you change like headlights, a lot of people say, well, my left headlight's out, just change the left headlight. And I'll say, okay, I'll change the left headlight, but in about another 3 to 4 weeks, you'll be back for the right headlight to be changed. You think so? Well, they burn out about the same speed. Now, there are some exceptions. Some cars out there seem to have a propensity to let one headlight burn out more than the other. And we have come to find out that's usually due to a faulty ground, a ground that's not a very good ground, or we have a assembly that's loose and it's vibrating more than any. That's about the only two things that I have found that are called a headlight to burn out prematurely is a faulty ground or a fixture that's not very secure and it vibrates more than the other ones. So change your headlights the same. Believe it or not, a headlight that's like 3 to 4 years old versus one that's brand new will put out about 30% less light. I know that's an awful lot than the other one that's brand new. So change those in pairs. Same thing about tail lights and brake lights. If you have to go into the right rear to change a brake light, why don't you go ahead and change all the bulbs that are in there? That's the brake light, the tail light, and the backup light. There's 3 bulbs on average. Change those. And then change those bulbs, and then go back and do the other side. Yeah, it may take you a whole whopping hour to change all those, but the thing about it is, if you change them once and you do it, you don't have to worry about another light bulb going out in a few weeks' time down the road, and you have to stop or possibly getting a ticket when you go through a small town that maybe you don't know. Maybe you're traveling and going to go visit family, and you go through a small town on a Saturday evening late, about 10 o'clock at night, and your tag lights don't work, and you see the blue lights on in the rearview mirror, and you get pulled over, and you get a little paranoid, you go, what happened? And it's all because you got a tail light out or a tag light out. They can stop you for that, and then they can give you a ticket. And they might just give you a warning. If you're lucky, you'll get a warning, but still, the inconvenience and the scary factor of being pulled over. And, my advice is please check your lights on a regular basis. At least once a month, check your lights. Too many people don't check their lights. Every time a car comes in here at James Auto Center for an oil change, there's things that we do every time they come in here. First off, when the car comes in here, we go for a test drive. The reason we go for a test drive is to verify that any noises that the car has, that you hear them and I hear them together. I have people come in here and say, I just need an oil change, and we go for a ride and the pedal and the brakes go all the way to the floor. I go, what about your brake pedal? Oh, it's always been like that. No, it's not always been like it. Just so long as you're aware that brake pedal is below the gas pedal, and it's almost on the floor. All I want to do is make sure people are aware of what they have before I touch them. Before my shop touches them. Too many times people brought cars in and they don't pay much attention to their car until they get it back. And after they pay some money, they go, I don't know if I had that problem there before. I don't think I did. Let's take it back and have them take a look at it. So that's why I go for a ride. We make sure, speaking of lights, that none of your lights on are inside your dash. You'd be surprised how many people ignore that check engine light or don't pay any attention to it till after someone works on their car. So make sure the check engine lights don't work. That's not staying on. We make sure your anti-lock brake light's not on. Your supplemental restraint system, your SRS, is not on. We make sure that no other lights, traction control, all those lights are off. Because if I don't let you know and note them down on the test drive, those lights are on, and you bring it to me and you say, well, I didn't notice it when I brought the car off here. I'm sure that light was off. And in your mind, you're probably absolutely right. So that's why, to save the inconvenience and aggravation and frustration of customers, that adds stress level to you, is make sure that we go for a test drive first. We verify what lights are on, what lights are off. Does the car pull to the left? Does the car pull to the right? Is there a vibration at highway speeds? Is there a vibration or a wobble at low speeds? Telling me about the tire condition. And all these things we pay attention to. We see how it shifts. We bring it back. I've got a scanner on at the same time. At the same time, I'm doing a health check on all the computers. It's doing a complete sweep of all the computers on the car. And by the time I get back, I show the customer, these are the codes, and they're with me the entire time, nothing hidden. And the customer's watching the computer doing all the checking. I said, here are the codes we have in the car. You have something in your anti-lock brakes. You have something in your powertrain control module, which is the computer for the engine. And you've got something in your anti-lock brakes. And you've got something in your cruise control, in your instrument cluster. And I said, let's take a look at them and see what's going on. And I'll pull up all the codes, do a report on. I said, it looks like you had a low battery, or your battery went dead recently, or you just changed the battery, because most of these are low voltage in communication. Well, yeah, I did change my battery just recently. Okay, so we write down all the codes in it that we had in there, print them out, write them down, clear the codes, do our work, and then we get finished with the car. We go for a ride again, see if those codes come back. Any of them come back. If they do come back and say, okay, I know you said you changed the battery and we erased the codes, you saw me erase them, now I keep getting a code back saying that I'm having problems communicating with another scanner, with another computer on it. It could be something as simple as a bad ground, a bad connection, just whatever it may be. It doesn't mean that that computer is faulty. It just means there's some way it's not communicating, or there's a problem. Could be a blown fuse. You'd be surprised how many times computers won't work because of a blown fuse. Yeah, I mean, they got fuses on them too as well. So, I mean, and there's more than one computer on your car. You've got I'd say the average car has about 10 to 15 computers on it. The average car. Some cars have as many as 150. Some cars have as little as 5 or 6. But I would say the average car that I work on, that comes in my shop, that we scan, has between 10 to 15 computers on average. Now, get those cars checked out. Make sure those things, when you come in for an oil change, make sure that they're right and cleared out or whatever. And you see this, and you're part of the diagnostic procedure. Now, when was the last time that you went to a shop, they did all that, and it didn't cost you anything at this moment? So far, it hadn't cost you anything. We've just gone for a test drive. We verified your problem. We wrote down all the codes in it. We told you these are what the problems that the computer sees that may not be a problem, may be a false problem. We clear those out. Then we say, okay, this is what we see the car needs to be done. All you want to have done, you don't care about that check engine light that you didn't see, but you do have on, you do have this, you do have that. We're going to change your oil, do a 30,000 mile safety inspection from headlights to taillights and everything in between. And we're going to find out if your bolts are tight on your frame that hold the motor mounts on there. We're going to make sure all these things are tight. It's something that a lot of people don't even bother to look at. But in your 30,000 mile checkup, they say check these bolts, such as the ones that hold the body to the frame. Things like that, or the steering, or the ball joints, or the tie rod ends, or the sway bar end links, or the struts or shocks, all these things. And most people just look at them and really don't know what they're looking at. I have found that out a lot of times. When people look at a car and they're sitting here looking at shocks, they go, well, what am I looking at? How can I tell if the shock is bad? Well, a couple things you can look at is there any oil leaking down on, say you got a right shock and a left shock. The right shock, it looks oily and wet. The left shock looks dry. Well, if the right shock is leaking and that oil is out of the shock, so you need to change. Both of those shocks need to be changed in pairs. So those are bad. It's recommended if you change 2 shocks, change all 4 of them if they're the same age. But just giving you an example of what you're looking for. You're looking for moisture. You're looking for oil. Those are the things you're looking on a shock if they're bad. The other thing you're looking for if shocks are bad is go out there and grab hold of the right front bumper and just push down, push up, push down. Do that about 4 or 5 times and let go. Get it going really, really good, and then let go. It should go up, down, and stop. What ends up happening is we see a lot of people, we get them going, we're shaking them, making them go up and down. They go up, down, up, down. They shouldn't do that. They should go, when you push down, let it, they go up, down, stop. That's how it works. But if you keep going like a boat, then you got a problem there, and that is a safety problem. Believe it or not, shocks are a safety problem. I've got people say, well, I've got cars that don't even have shocks on them. Well, you got shocks on them, they just don't work very well. But believe it or not, shocks keep your tires on the ground. When you're in a panic stop and your ABS is working, the ABS is pulsating very, very fast. If it starts doing that, it has a tendency to make, if the shocks aren't able to keep the bouncing down, you're actually going to have a car that's going to be skipping. You're actually going to have a car that's not going to be able to keep rubber contact on the asphalt or concrete, and you're not going to maintain control. That's the purpose of anti-lock brakes, is where you maintain control to steer around what's in your way. When you hit your brakes as hard as you can, instead of your tires locking up and you riding a wave of little rubber balls as you slide into something, the wheels don't lock up and you're able to steer around it. It gives, that is a safety precaution, safety item. It's been on cars for years. It was invented during World War II, put on aircraft, but still we've applied it to cars, and it works extremely well to keep cars so they can maintain control of their car in wet weather, or when they're losing control or in an emergency situation. You can stop a lot faster with good shocks. Believe it or not, good brakes, as much as 10 to 15% quicker with good shocks than you can with wore-out shocks. I know that sounds hard to believe that shocks can make that big a difference, but if you got your total stopping is 100 foot, and it's 100, and you got shocks that are bad, you're going to add another 10 feet to that if you got wore-out shocks easily. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but if you're in a panic situation, every inch that you're moving and you're trying to slow it down to get it to a stop can make a difference. Shocks give also a better ride, better handling. They keep from wearing out your front end parts. Yes, they do. That's a big thing that wears out ball joints and tie rod ends, is shocks wear out suspension. Another thing that wears out suspension that a lot of people overlook and they live with, and I know since I'm on this route of talking about cars preventive maintenance, is if you've got a vibration when you hit your brakes. If you have a vibration when you hit your brakes, well, my Chevy truck, I drove this weekend, it's got one. That means I've got a problem with it, and if it feels like it's in my pedal, that means it's probably in my rear brakes if it's in my brake pedal. If it's in my steering wheel, it'd be my front brakes. If it's in your steering wheel and you feel in your front brakes when you hit your brake pedal, that normally indicates your rotors are either out or around, or what we call brake torque variation, where the brake pads have actually embedded the pad into the brake rotor, making it thicker and thinner in some places, causing this vibration. And that too will cause your tie rods to wear out, your ball joints to wear out, and your tires to wear out prematurely, even though it is only on the brakes. It will wear your front end parts out, causing excessive wear and causing you to end up having to wear your tires out when you really don't need to. So vibrations, noises, rattles, and oil leaks are very, very important on a car. So keep looking at them, keep them safe, and keep them between the lines and between the ditches out there. And the best way to do that is keep your maintenance up. This is James Morris. We'll be back in a few minutes. I don't know who we got calling at 6:15, but someone will. Be right back.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.